A very good evening to you. This is News at Prime on Newzroom Africa, Channel 405. Johannesburg Mayor Herman Mashaba is hopeful that Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Justice and Correctional Services will be able to deal with cases of fraud and corruption where no prosecution has been made. This is in relation to a number of cases reported by the city relating to contracts as well as tenders amounting to almost 34 billion rand. These revelations by Mashaba's group Forensic and Investigation Services is alleged to have investigated over 5,000 cases, this from November 2016 until March 2019. Newzroom Afrika's Mbali Thethani reports.
As the DA-led City of Johannesburg prioritizes efforts to root out corruption, its efforts to hold those accountable are yielding no results. The City of Johannesburg believes much fraud and corruption happened under the previous municipal government, but no arrests have been made despite evidence collected by Mayor Herman Mashaba's Group Forensic and Investigation Services unit. Mashaba claims fraud and corruption in the city amounts to almost 34 billion rand, and he now wants this money recouped. This also involves a purchasing order which was given to this company, Isizwe Technology, to provide the city with 500 computers, but these were never delivered. It's understood the city paid Isizwe 8 million rand for the order.
We were given an order, I think it was in 2014, somewhere around that time. I can't remember the exact quantity. It's got to do somewhere in 500 computers. We received the order. We purchased the computers from our supplier. We delivered the computers to the city of Joburg. They signed to say they received the computers, and they paid us for the delivery. It's as simple as that.
But a whistleblower who worked for the company alerted authorities amidst claims that Pillay received 2 orders, one via Isizwe and the second order from his own company called Virus Corp, which is not registered under his name. It's understood that order was also worth at least 8 million rand. The whistleblower claims that Pillay has 31 companies where some are registered in other people's names, including family members and employees.
The first order came in under Isizwe Group for 500 desktops, and that was supplied and delivered. The second order came in under a company called Virus Corp, and those desktops were not delivered. We received payment from City of Johannesburg for them.
But this has been vehemently denied by Pillay.
I only received one order. I can only talk for my company. It was one big order for in the region of 500 computers. But before and after, we received probably multiple orders. I mean, we've supplied the city with quantities of 20, 30, 40, 50, before that big order and after that big order. When this issue took place last year, February, when the mayor sent his chief's team to my offices, it was regarding one specific order for Isizwe and for the 500 computers which he claims weren't delivered. And we supplied proof of purchase, that we purchased the actual computers and that we delivered to the city. And we gave our delivery note to the mayor's chief's department. As far as going back and saying that these computers were never delivered, that is incorrect information.
Desktops were then sold back to other government departments. They're also used for staff members in the office. And yeah, they were never supplied and we got paid for it.
Pillay says claims that computers were not delivered is misleading.
The city has audit committees. The AG, Auditor General, does audit on government institutions. 500 computers, and the amount that the mayor is alleging is somewhere in the region of 8 million. That kind of money can't go unnoticed. I mean, surely somebody in the city in 2014 would have picked up 500 computers weren't delivered, or we're missing 8 million rands from our IT asset management report. You can't come 5 years later because some whistleblower told you this company hadn't delivered computers, and you hang on to that and you say there's missing computers. There is no proof of missing computers. And I challenged the mayor, go and do an audit in 2014, do an audit in 2015, go and look at the AG's audit. Go and get an external auditor, I'll pay for it. Go and get KPMG or Deloitte to go and look at it and see if there are missing computers. There is no missing computer.
This matter has now been reported to police, along with evidence of a list of companies linked to Pillay.
Case is of real major concern to us as public representatives when we have such a clear case of fraud and corruption. And we were lucky by a whistleblower who was part of the syndicate. From time to time they have a fallout and approach the GFIS under General Sibia to provide him with the necessary evidence of this corruption. Unfortunately, we really battled. And what is actually even more worrying for us is that the people involved in this criminal activity threatening some of our ward councillors who obviously have knowledge of this particular incidents of the fraud and corruption.
The case was investigated and handed to the NPA, who declined to prosecute. The GFIS unit in the city then submitted a presentation to the NPA to review their decision, but it was established that the docket was stolen from police archives. But the whistleblower says the city of Johannesburg has all the relevant evidence needed to bring Pillay to book.
We have more than enough evidence. I was told that people are prosecuted with less evidence than what we have. We have confirmation, and I'm sure City of Johannesburg will confirm this. The amount of evidence itself given is more than enough for prosecution. John has always said that he has enough money to pay off anyone, and it seems to have proved true, in a sense. And those were his words, and he said to me that he will get away because he will pay off whoever it takes. And knowing from past experiences where he's had members of SAPS attend his weekly poker night games, his Christmas functions. I mean, he even did the 3-quote system with Mondio Police Station. He's a supplier to Mondio Police Station. And to have so many friends that are in the SAPS and to brag about your contacts and the people that you know, even political contacts, it makes one think that it's taken this long for charges to be laid and to be prosecuted. It makes one think that he does have the backup that he needs.
This docket was investigated by the Directorate of Priority Crimes, which is the Hawks. There was an allegation that the docket went missing from the Mondio Police Station. The docket was never investigated at Mondio Police Station. As far as I know, the docket was never at the Mondio Police Station. It was an allegation that wasn't tested. It was an allegation that was made based on, I don't know, nothing. It was put to me that the docket went missing. As far as if it was really gone missing, I don't know. If it did go missing, I can assure you I had nothing to do with the docket going missing. And nonetheless, if the docket went missing, all the evidence that was in there, most of the documents, I supplied it. I could have been called for it again, and I could have supplied that my statements and all the evidence that was in there again. I was never approached and said, listen, the docket is missing. We want to rebuild the case.
The whistleblower says she fears for her life after blowing the lid and now needs protection.
There is no relationship. Obviously, he went out in full force and vengeance. Knowing that I left, I also took paperwork, evidence with me. And he's also charged me for that. I've faced a number of intimidation tactics used by him in order to keep me quiet. He's been paying off my gardener to give him information of when I come in and when I leave my home. He's sent his drone. He's been sending his drone into my yard. He's continuously coming past my property, stops in the front, makes his presence known. He sent death threats my way. He's asked that I take out insurance on my husband, that I should make sure I take out insurance on my husband. He sent messages that apparently through a certain window in my home, he's able to get a full view of my family. Yeah, I've been tormented. I've had him come and stand outside my gate. I've had him track my cell phone number, my helper's number. And I'm going to use the word dirty cops. He has his members come with him. I've had them outside my gate, banging on my door. So I think he's tried in every which way to keep me quiet.
But Pillay has slammed these claims, saying she's a disgruntled former employee who is facing charges of fraud.
This allegation was made by a whistleblower, a so-called whistleblower, not a bona fide whistleblower, somebody that left my company on a bad note, which I laid criminal charges against. That individual, the criminal case has been concluded. Judgment is going to be given on the 7th of September. And there's a good chance that individual will be convicted for fraud. So based on those fraud charges which I laid upon, that's where the so-called whistleblower came out from. And this person made these allegations to the mayor with no proof whatsoever.
Mayor Mashaba says he has since approached the NPA head, Shamila Batoy, asking her to intervene.
I called Advocate Batoy to lodge my official complaint with her, and I wrote to her, and she has now, obviously, fortunately, responded back to me that she will act on these matters that I've raised with her, and I'm really looking forward to working with her to the benefit of our country. Fraud and corruption has really destroyed our country. We're sitting with such high unemployment. The private sector all over the world really very reluctant to come and invest in South Africa because of the level of fraud and corruption that has happened over the last 20 years.
Pillay says he is since suing the mayor's office for acting unlawfully during this investigation.
His GFA's team to my offices in January 2018, and they acted unlawfully. The GFA's team entered my premises, later joined by members of the Hawks, and they raided my premises, and they alleged that all my computers which I've got on my tables and for my employees belong to the city. And they alleged and made allegations that my computers don't have serial numbers. I offered to give them proof of purchase, that I bought the computers and I've got the serial numbers and I've got the supplier invoice. They refused to see it. They were here for a good 12 hours. They brought their IT experts who came to my premises and been through all my computers, and they confirmed that these computers don't belong to the city and they're not on the city's asset register. When I was being questioned by the GFA's team, and strangely enough, the questions that I was being asked was about my relationship with previous ANC officials at the city of Joburg. And I found it strange, because if you're here investigating missing computers, I mean, what has my relationship with ANC officials got to do with it? I don't have a relationship with any ANC officials. The instruction that came to the GFA's team that was here, and apparently it was coming from the highest office, which was the mayor's office, was to confiscate all my goods. We left this evening with the Hawks and GFA's confiscating all my computers. It took me a month through the system to show proof that, well, I had the proof with me. I submitted it during the investigation within the next day that these computers belong to me. And the city could never prove, for 30 days, they could never prove that these computers belong to them. They went to my supplier, they confirmed that I bought the computers from them. I showed them the invoices, all my serial numbers tied up, and my computers were returned to me. Nonetheless, the mayor made strong allegations in public press releases that the computers that were found on my premises belong to the city. I don't know if you're aware, I'm suing the city, I'm suing the mayor I'm suing the Hawks, I'm suing the Whistleblower, and in my court papers, the mayor, the Hawks and the GFIS department, they deny ever coming to my premises and confiscating my computers. I've got that in court papers. So that case is ongoing. I'm also going to be suing the mayor for defamation for all the allegations that he made against me.
The NPA and others say they are awaiting the relevant documents from the city.
That is the matter that involved laptops, where in the city, even now, we are still awaiting. We have, let me make an example. If you own something, let me say this cell phone. If I claim that you have stolen this cell phone, I need to be able to prove ownership of the phone in court. So we have requested information from the city of Johannesburg to furnish us with any documentation, any proof that they are the owners of these laptops, so that we can be able to enroll the matter and proceed with trial. That has not been forthcoming. So hence earlier I indicated that the mayor is very selective in the information that he gives to the public, painting the NPA with a brush that seeks to damage the reputation of the NPA. Meanwhile, some of these cases are a delay that is caused by his office, and he should, as a leader of that office, be in a position to take a responsibility, be willing to push, because he says he has interest in these cases. So he needs to be able to push his staff members to say, I've asked a report on this, or the NPA has asked this, what have you done so far? That is not happening. Instead, the blame should be taken by the NPA, and we refuse to find ourselves in that position as the NPA.
It remains to be seen whether the truth in this matter will come to light and if those accused of fraud and corruption will be held liable and prosecuted. For Newzroom Africa on Channel 405, I'm Mbali, Thethani in Johannesburg.